Welcome to a new test and teardown video. This time it's a custom product made by AVTECH in Canada, and they call this product AVP-C, whatever that is. It is a pulse generator, and it's generating insanely short pulses, and it was ordered back in the 90s by NKT, the Optical Fiber Development Division, and they used this unit here to generate tiny pulses for measurement of bandwidth in fiber cables. So I'm really interested to see what the heck is inside this beautiful unit. It is made really nice, and I totally love this case. And it's not looking like it was cheap. Here is the calibration sticker. I don't find any dates or anything like that. Maybe this 87. I think I got some other equipment as well. And it was in the 90s it was calibrated. So we got some other stickers right there, and we also got this NKT electronic, this means development, by the way. So let's look at the back. It's not that heavy or anything. Here at the back we have the full number. So the company's called AVTECH Electro Systems in Canada, and a long complicated model number. What else can we see? Offset output. So you can turn this offset on and off. I don't know what M could be. Yeah, let's try and open. What do you think about this unit? I mean, I have been yelling and screaming the last 2 minutes before I started this clip. This is probably the most beautiful unit I have seen in a very long time. This is, of course, all totally custom. Maybe the power supply here, maybe some of these units are used in all sorts of other projects or products. But man, this is nice. So what is this? A little OT, some output CPS, probably a power supply of some sort. CL, I don't know what that means. Really don't know a lot about what anything here is doing, except here is this output, and then this is the M that goes in the back, and we have this offset thing that we can turn on and off. This is a little pulse generator, probably because look at that, it's connected here at the front to some delay and some, what is that, ranges and some trick and some whatnot. And then you have this internal or external pulse width. So where's this pulse width going? So we can follow the wires. Ah, look at that. So pulse width goes into this little pulse generator. I mean, we're of course definitely going to look inside some of those modules. I can't wait. We need to do that. Well, look how nice it is. And the little power supply here is just tip-top class done. Wow, I'm so happy I got this one. Thanks a million times again. This is always fascinating to have this kind of cool things donated to my YouTube channel. Wow, I love it. And here is a 24 volt power supply, and the other one here is 5 volt. A little funny with this tantalum capacitor, and then there's no capacitors on the inputs. And then the wire just goes this way and in here, and yeah, What happens if we power this up? So we're now up and running with a 2 nanoseconds per division. And I'm using the rise time feature here to measure like 600-700 picoseconds of rise time. This scope here is upgraded, by the way, so this is a 500 megahertz bandwidth scope, and it's actually measuring about 550 in real life. And I am now in 8-bit mode, and this is also required to get this this full speed. And anyway, so what we can see here is the pulse, and this reflection we have here is the cable. If I move a little bit with the cable or just poke, so yeah, see here, if I just poke a little bit with this, you can see the reflection is actually coming from this port and this length of this cable, and it's only about 1 meter long, this cable. So that will be the delay out and back again in this cable. Gives this reflection here. And let's try and play a little bit with this. So this is the pulse, the width. It says here pulse width. So I can make it longer. I can also make it even shorter if I want to. But the rise time remain the same. But this one can also, oh, here we can even get, oh, we can get a little bit more speed. And of course, with more speed, then the reflections gets easier to detect, right? And if we, let's give it some more pulse width, like this, okay? So let's try and zoom out with the scope until we can see. Oh, now we can see some of the other pulses. I don't know how easy that is to see because they're doing the little flickety. But if I move here, we can have much more. Okay, then we can zoom in. Now we can see them. So, oh, I can even do more. Good. So now it happens a lot more often. I can even do more here. So here we go. So this is full potential. Oh, and we can even see the voltage starts dropping. Oh, and it's also using a lot more power. So now it's using 12 watts. Aha, so every fire here uses a lot more power. So now, oh yeah, so it's using, okay, 11, no 10. So it's using a lot less power. That tells me there is some very interesting going on inside with this triggering here. So it's now we're running at full. Let's see what happens if we zoom in here. Is this going to change anything? This one, I don't know exactly what this is doing. Oh, delay. This is delay after the trigger. So if we're using, and there's also a sync output. Let's see what that. Well, I think we have seen enough. This is a beautiful generator. I totally love it. But we need to open it a lot more and see, right? After I did a lot of measurements and figured out the 600 to 700 picoseconds rise and fall time, I actually realized that this has something to do with my oscilloscope, and this unit is way faster than that. So I started to Google around and look at that. I find, of course, their web page and all the different models of pulse generators. And then, unfortunately, I figured out that this AVP, the AV1S that I got, is discontinued quite a lot of years ago. And anyway, I was able to see that the different models of this pulse generator, you can buy it from 80 picoseconds to 150 picosecond rise time, and you can also get different fall times. So here is my model with the full model number, and it should have 80 picosecond rise time and about 200 picoseconds fall time, if it's not modified or anything other than that, right? So here we can look a little bit deeper into the specifications. of exactly my unit, and they also show how to measure the pulses. And they talk about an attenuator and a sampling oscilloscope that will handle more than 10 gigahertz of bandwidth. And my scope don't do that, right? I was also able to find prices for some of the different models. I used the Waveback machine, and then I was able to find the full price list of my unit, including all the different options. So I put in a nice little red marker here under all the options that are available on my unit. So to get access to a much faster oscilloscope, I had to visit a friend. So thank you very much, Peter. I could come and visit you. Well, look at this super cool oscilloscope. And here is the rise time, and here is the fall time. It is much, much faster than mine. But of course, this 11800 series oscilloscope is able to do 50 gigahertz with the right plug-in. This is the 20 gigahertz plug-in, and that is why we can measure this kind of speed. Oh, what a bummer. Look at that. They put in some silicone goobity-goo here. But also, what we can see, this is how it was looking, right? So, Pomona, probably electronics, and then, yeah, that's what it says, right? And then it says Pomona, California. So this is a rebranded 24, yeah, completely. They just flipped the sticker, put in another sticker, and Barbara's your uncle. How nice, huh? I will try and take out the, let's look inside this one and see if it's the same. This is not making me any wiser, because look, I can't even get inside this one. I removed all the screws there, and it's not coming up this lid. So I bet they filled it up completely with this white sticky glue. And now I'm trying to get this off, and I realize they got heatsink compound. So this is not for just mechanical stability, but it's actually a heatsink. So this output power pulse, I mean this pulse generator is using a lot of power. Look at that, for heat sinking on the top. So how annoying is this? Of course I can't get in there. Of course I tried to yank from all sides here, and it's just completely glued. So I mean, what kind of a disappointment of a teardown video is that? We can't go inside any of the modules. So I'm so sorry and sad for the disappointment. Well, what we can do is enjoy the build quality from the outside at least. So I think we should just end this video right now, because I got nothing else to add really. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.